What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Breaking the Kernel. I've been gone for a little bit, but because for the first time in a long time, I've felt overwhelmed by what's going on in the United States of America right now. There's so many different stories, not just all political or humanitarian, but some of them with video games, some of them about the costs of living. So like it's all over the place. There's so many different stories I wanted to tackle, and then the LA situation has happened and it's been unfolding. And there was many times I wanted to talk about, but I was like, I want to see where this gets to because I want to really give it some time to see, is it going to just die down immediately? Is it going to have legs? It seems like it's going to have legs, so it's something we should really talk about as one of the central cities, not central being literal central, but one of the most key cities in this country. And it's evolved ICE, and we're going to talk about it. So let's get right into it. First things first, a lot of people, different groups, think that this is only going to affect LA, or this is a LA only thing when it comes to ICE. So if you're out of the country, let me give you some context here. ICE is basically an enforcement agency, if you even want to call them that, where they go and basically deport people from the United States to wherever they came from, right? It's supposed to be illegal immigrants, people who are here illegally, be it they never went through the proper channels, or their visas expired for at least a day, and they go swoop them. And I say that because I'm pretty sure a famous TikToker, Kwame Lame or something. I think his visa expired for like a day or so, if I'm not mistaken, either a day to 5 days or something like that. And I think, met him at the airport, and he just, obviously they just kind of like, hey, you gotta leave type shit, right? So it's interesting because again, people think this is only about Mexicans. I promise you, there are people from various different countries outside of Mexico who are being deported or will be deported. It is not just a Mexican thing. I want to make that very clear. And this situation in Los Angeles has gotten out of control because it started, and it is a protest. People in Los Angeles are protesting ICE. They're protesting Donald Trump. They're protesting a lot of his policies regarding immigration. And it's getting to the point where people are like, hey, we're upset because you're not just deporting or ripping families apart of people who are illegal immigrants. You're also doing it for people who are also here legally, be it they're actual U.S. citizens or they have their visas in order, etc., etc. So it's becoming a situation now in which Los Angeles, because of the population demographic, is very upset. Is very upset. And again, I can tell people, if you think this is a Los Angeles only problem, you're wrong. It's happening everywhere, and they will have concentrated and bigger attacks of this kind of nature, being ICE, in other places too. Especially in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. Especially here. So it's come to a situation now where Donald Trump has inserted himself in the situation, and he sees it fit to try to make an example out of Los Angeles. It's very clear. He has taken over the National Guard, right? He has now deployed, or at least the Marines are being deployed to Los Angeles as I'm making this video or this podcast episode, and it just doesn't feel real, because I want to make it also clear, both Biden and Obama, the last not last two presidents, because Trump, but those two former presidents have also deported millions of people out of this country, and they never had to do it this way. This is clearly, in my opinion, a power move for Trump to show not only his fan base, but the world. He's trying to make a power move. And I'm sorry, there are too many similarities to what President Donald Trump is doing and certain things that Adolf Hitler did early on. And many other people like Adolf, right? Because how I see this is ICE is slowly becoming, or has already became, a type of secret police. If you want to call it secret police, the way they operate is very murky. It's very murky. So I want to call them secret police. That's where we're going with. To enforce a policy, right? And they are. I mean, if you watched the recent Daredevil Born Again series, okay, for the non-history buffs out there, let's go with Daredevil Born Again. Kind of similar to what Kingpin's doing in that series right now with his secret his anti-vigilante task force. You see parallels here, and it's kind of weird because again, Daredevil Born Again was written a minute ago. But obviously similarities, but like you see how far how close fiction and nonfiction can really become. You see, so ICE is operating this way, and they're going into schools, they're going into places of employment, they're going into all these different spaces, and they're taking people away, separating families. You don't know where people are going. It's very chaotic. If nothing else, there are way better ways of doing this mass deportation that Trump wants to do, or the Trump and his administration want to do, right? There are many other ways to go about this. This is the most obscene, disgusting thing I've ever seen from this administration. Because it's not organized. It's not organized. It's inhumane, especially what he did in his first term, or his first time around. It's more of the same BS. It's a lot of inhumane practices. It's not practical. It's costing the taxpayers millions of dollars to do this. And it's all for a show of force. It's all for him and his ego. He's not doing this for the United States of America. He's not doing this to save taxpayer money, because he's blowing it all the way. He blows away every single time he goes to play golf. He's blowing at least minimum $42 million this coming weekend, as I'm recording this, to host that Army birthday parade where he's trotting tanks, to across the DC streets. These things are way too heavy and violent to be on these roadways. So if you're tired of if you live in the DC area and you're tired of construction and messed up streets, well, I feel bad for you for the next couple of months, depending on how this parade goes. And it's also his birthday. Happened to fall on his birthday. Listen, man, it's a bunch of propaganda. It's a bunch of show of force. It's stroking his ego. That's what this is right now. And it's so weird. I know a couple people who live in Los Angeles, and I'm seeing so many different angles between what I'm seeing from streams and clips, but also from the people who live there, who have lived there for years, and I'm talking to them, seeing like, yo, what is going on through your lens of LA, because you're not trying to sell a certain type of look, right? You're just literally living. You have a job like millions of other people who live there. You're just trying to get to work and stuff. What's going on? And it's a lot, bro. The media has a real funny way of flipping it. No matter what side you're on this issue, it's really weird how this whole thing has contextualized. And I just don't see how you calm down and gain control of a situation by using an absurd amount of force that's just going to rile more people up. There are, besides there are people who are not, there are some violent people who are not a part of these protests, who are doing their own thing in the city of Los Angeles. And you're going to bring, listen, I mean, what I mean by that, Los Angeles is already a very volatile city. By no means is every single resident dangerous, as no means is painted as this. Los Angeles is painted in so many different lights, but one thing for sure is that it is a city that has a lot of history, has had its fair share of riots before, and has a lot of people where there's a lot of tension right now. And bringing in the Marines is such a weird way to de-escalate a situation that really isn't violent to begin with. Because I'm sorry, using spray paint on a building is not violent. That's not violent. They keep showing me this clip of graffiti, and that's not violent. So every single graffiti artist, you're going to send the Marines to stop them too? Now, yes, there's videos of cars burning in certain situations like that, but I thought that's what you brought the National Guard in for. I thought that's what you brought SWAT in for. I thought that's what you brought the police, LAPD, in there for. So bringing the Marines is going to do what exactly? Yes, I know what the Marines represent, and I know they're not to be messed with, and I know what they're about to do when they touch down. But there are consequences to using this type of force on people. There are consequences. Whatever, and I don't live in Los Angeles, so people in Los Angeles, please comment below and let me know things I'm getting wrong, things I should put in, things you want to put in context, whatever. Especially this next thing I'm about to say. I don't know what kind of goodwill the LAPD have built with the citizens since at least either the 1992 or at least the 2020 situation. I don't know if they've gained any more, any less. I'm not sure. But whatever little piece, if at all, of goodwill they've built with their citizens, it's cooked. Certain terms like soft power, certain things like this, you're cooking it. You're making it. I see the play a mile away. If nothing else, is the stuff that follows the other side of these protests that is going to make it very hard for Gavin Newsom and other people. Trump has a very personal vendetta and battle against Gavin Newsom. And now he has made it, you can say both of them really, have made it all of our problems. And while I'm personally not a huge fan of Gavin Newsom himself and some of his policies, I do see that this is clearly an attack, and Trump clearly wants to replace Gavin Newsom with someone else that is going to follow Trump's policies and make California, or it'll start in LA, but best believe it'll be all of California, but definitely Los Angeles, to make it a state and a city of Los Angeles that you will not recognize. They're going to make it very different. Because guess what's coming to Los Angeles? The Olympics. Guess what's coming to Los Angeles? The World Cup. Some games will be played in Los Angeles, I believe. Big international events are happening. And the city is not safe right now because you have the people who feel disrespected, and you have so much civil unrest. And then you have unnecessary show and use which will be use of force against your own people in which you govern. The people that you're supposed to serve. It doesn't lead to anything positive. It leads to a fractured, angry, tension-filled community. That's what it leads to. There are no talking down. There's no, hey, let's inch back ICE and find a different way to do this mass deportation that you want to do that does not cause this level of chaos. No, they're not doing that. It's my way or the highway. I'm going to send the Marines now to bring what I see as order so that I can do what I want to do. Listen, bro. And then doing this festival parade thing in DC when the nation is already with so much division and tension, I don't know what's going to happen this weekend. It could go off without a hitch. No one could care, and we just move on. But to me, what's about to happen in Los Angeles is going to really determine what's going to happen in DC this weekend, and it'll be a domino effect. And I don't know how you parade all these tanks in people's streets, across near their homes, near their places of work, their places where they eat and drink and be merry, while you're doing what you're doing on the complete opposite side of the country, and you expect no one to be protesting and no one to be angry and no one to be disgusted. It is like he is trying to recreate a January 6th like reaction, but on the other side, so he can say, see, it's them too. They're the violence. They're what's wrong in this country. They have a problem with me becoming president. Because otherwise, what I'm seeing right now is Trump having a secret police that's doing whatever he's saying he wants to do. He's utilizing all this military force on his own citizens. And he is just bleeding through money that he got from laying off millions of people. Because guess what? It's not just federal workers who got laid off. It's people who worked within organizations as well that had government grants or government funding or had government contracts that were suddenly canceled. Now there's what was already thousands has now turned to 1 million, I'm sure at least, people who are out of work. In an economy that's already struggling. Laugh at it or not, what I'm about to say is that, hell, you have a world where Nintendo is charging $80+ for a Mario Kart game. That's what we're in right now. That's the world we're living in. These things have consequences. The problem with MAGA and a lot of these organizations is that they think that there is no domino effect. They think that everything is isolated, and it's not. Things are so, when it comes to capitalism especially, there are so many interconnected parts that when one thing falls, another thing will fall, or one thing stops, another thing stops. They all stop. And that is called an economy. For example, funny enough, I'm going to relate this to Pokemon. Alright? Do you know why a new Pokemon game comes out every single year? Because they cannot stop. It's over. It's Pokemon's its own economy. If not number one, at least top three of one of the most not expensive, but like one of the most wealthy brands out there. Okay? Because because it's not just the games. Everything's relying on that. Because at the end of the day, Pokemon was a game. Right? Without the game, there's no anime. Without the anime, there's no manga for. Without the manga and the anime and the game, there's no trading cards. Because you can create a bunch of trading card sets all you want. It'll be about all these Pokemon that we don't know because they're not in the new games. They're not in the new. There's no plushie or toys. So if you stop the games, you have to stop production on a lot of other things because the designs for the cards can't come out until the game comes out. And all this stuff. You see how it works? It's a whole economy. And if you stop the game, then those people lose their jobs. Then the cards, eventually, they'll slow down. Then those people lose their jobs. Then the plushies can't become. And then the plushie factory, it's an ecosystem. It's an ecosystem. Now, I didn't explain Pokemon ecosystem the best. I probably got some things reversed, and I apologize for that. But you get my point of things that are like its own economy, its own ecosystem of living, how things survive, and how jobs are interconnected. When you suddenly unemploy thousands of people, you get situations like this. You get civil unrest. People are pissed off for so many things. Now you're adding mass deportation. You have people who are U.S. citizens that have been deported wrongly and now are trapped in a country they've never even been to or been in. And now to justify that, they're making up all kinds of reasons on which why he got deported. When again, if nothing else, the person was born and raised and paid taxes and has a social security number in the United States of America. They've never been to some of these countries unless visiting. As a citizen of the United States of America, they've been deported. That's the issue. Because statistically, there's no way you deport all these people and not fuck up. Especially if you're doing it this way. And there's not a care in the world. And that's a couple of the many reasons why this is unethical and people are pissed off. And the thing is, they're protesting to this day still because they know even if when they stop protesting, they'll just resume in probably even more force and more things will be torn apart. And a lot of people just look at this and just be like, get it over with already, or they're all here illegally, they're criminals, or this and that. Listen, bruh. Some people that deport are criminals, or they are here illegally. But again, there's so many ways to go about immigration. There's so many policies that need to be changed and altered to be... The whole immigration system is, in America, very fucked, backed up, and needs to be altered and changed, to be honest with you, to begin with. But instead of focusing all our energy on that and making a more straightforward path, and instead of doing things with decorum and understanding, we're just bleeding through taxpayer money to get... You think all this shit's free? Do you know where all those soldiers have to find? They have to sleep somewhere. They have to eat something. The police, all this stuff, like all this overtime, it costs you money. Money, especially what's happening in DC. They have to fly all of the security and the army personnel to DC, especially with these tanks and all this stuff and the roads. Guess what? It's DC. So guess what? You who are watching and listening to this, you're paying for it. You are paying for it. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of resources. What he's been doing since he's gotten in office. There are so many issues. There are people who cannot afford back to school supplies. There are people who can't afford to eat or drink. There's people who still have fucked up drinking water. There's so many issues that are going on right now, and he has people focused on the wrong thing. And I have to say that if I'm a committee that's supposed to host something in your country in that particular city, and this is happening, and I have enough years to change it to a different site, I'm having that discussion. I'm revoking. The Olympics will not be here. Hey, guess what? The World Cup, either not in this whole country, or we're pulling it to this difference, to another state or something. We're not doing this. This we cannot bring. This is not televisable. This is not marketable, and we don't. And people, citizens of different countries, are terrified to come here. This is nonsense. And maybe that will shake some people. You know, people all they talk is through money. I don't know what else to do, guys. Like this is a very fucked situation. It's weird. I don't understand it myself, but we're here. I'm trying to talk. And the reason why I love this podcast is because I can have discussions like this and people chime in. I can learn even more Unfortunately, I'm not in Los Angeles. I can't be on the ground asking questions, videoing this, photography, like getting some photos, trying to like tell the story of the people through these different mediums. But man, oh man, I'm telling you this right now. This is very weird and risky business the president has us in. And I think as I'm making this, I think the Supreme Court blocked Gavin Newsom from stopping the Trump administration from sending Marines to Los Angeles. So it really just depends. Is Donald Trump and his administration, are Republicans ready to potentially televise Marine, ICE, and police personnel spilling American blood in the city of Los Angeles? Because tensions are high. Tensions are really high. And for some people, this is life or death. This is about family. This is about being a lot of civil disturbances. This is not some trend for some people. This is livelihoods on line for some people. So you're not going to just have them. They're not going to just cattle in somewhere else. So, and this problem's not going to just go away. It's going to take a long time to master. Like all this stuff is going on. Protests will happen again. It's not going to just stop right now because you say so. It's going to happen again. So you're going to make Los Angeles some weird internment camp? Are you going to make it some type of weird police state? Like what is it going to become? I don't understand, because this is an ongoing issue that's not going to just stop. This is not the protests for Black Lives Matter where we want policy. This is something where you're going to continuously be doing this actively in spades. People are going to be pissed off. And I just don't know. Because they're doing this thing, and they're doing stuff like this, and not the protests per se, but like ICE in New York as well, in Maryland and DC, Virginia. New York is a different beast. You doing this in New York, I don't know what happens to America if you do that. Los Angeles, there's some people who will fight you. Just like New York, but Los Angeles, those people are very prideful and they care. And I do not want to see our military used to murder or harm United States citizens. Anyone at all, to be period, on our soil, but like especially like just the people who live in Los Angeles. That we'll see how far Donald Trump's willing to go. I'm telling you right now, if we see United States Marines spill blood in the streets of Los Angeles, and Donald Trump's gonna have a parade for the Army and his birthday this weekend, we're going to see something crazy. And I pray for this country, and I pray for everyone involved. Comment, like, subscribe, share. You know what to do. Please tell me your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear from you. See you on the next one. Peace.